Hey guys, real quick, only 40% of our viewers are actually subscribed, so let's change that right now. Hit that subscribe button right below. We missed shouty shows last week. We mixed them in. We mixed them in to the to the Wednesday show, but full shouty shows. Let's go. Let's do it.
I've thought about it very deeply.
I liked how he started it with, I've thought about this long and hard.
I trust the backup quarterback more than I do Dak.
This is why Skip Bayless is the master of the shouty show segment.
I can't do it anymore. It is year 6.
It's just a never-ending arms race of idiocy between loud, obnoxious people. We are the antidote to that.
All right, we've got 5 on the list here.
5.
And I like when they're in our document, they're in our notes doc, but they're blacked out. We don't know exactly what's happening. We get the basic topic though. It's starting with a flip-flop on the Dallas Cowboys.
The Cowboys will make the playoffs, believe it or not.
Believe! Yeah! Whoa! I gave them a 0% chance. 0. And since the trade that this team is on, they're the scariest team in the NFL right now.
We are officially, December 1st marks a lot. You know, it's December, Christmas season. It's like a line in the sand for a lot of different things. It's also it's like the line of demarcation where there is going to be a new team every week who is the scariest team in the league or the team that you don't want to play in the playoffs.
You don't want to see them in the playoffs.
You don't want to see them in the playoffs. We need that's what we need. Instead of a graveyard, we need a running tally of the teams who have been declared. You don't want to see the Texans in the play. The way the Texans defense is now, if they lose at Kansas City, it won't be the Texans anymore.
Right.
But right now,
in theory, I think
Cowboys.
In theory, that's a good suggestion. In practice, that would mean changing what's on the chalkboard every week, and that's quite tricky given that apparently the paint doesn't work that well.
There's no room, but we need
no, not room. It's that it
just
doesn't rub off.
Yeah.
So like that, it's turned into more of a permanent chalkboard than it is a practical chalkboard.
Not
but anyway,
really a chalkboard.
No. Well, so the Cowboys thing is interesting because they still only have like a 20% chance-ish of making the playoffs, but that jumps to like 40% if they beat the Lions this week.
There is massive playoff leverage. Oh, I forgot to make that announcement as well. We're doing member watch-along as well for that game. We figured that game is so big. We'll do another watch-along Thursday night for members during Lions and Cowboys. There is massive playoff leverage. We'll break that all down on the preview show tomorrow. But yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with Jeff that Dallas is coming together defensively. They still weren't great against
I also,
Kansas
by the
City.
way, I don't have a problem with this particular type of this is more of a mea culpa than a full sort of flip-flop of idiocy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's not a flip-flop.
I had written off this
new
team.
Information.
Right, and now things have changed. They do now look very changed. We talked about all the additions on defense, whether it's trade, whether it's guys getting healthy, whether it's whatever. They are a different football team right now, and therefore expectations should be changing. So, okay, those are extremes, and this is the folly of the shouty show format, right? 0% versus whatever you're saying now. That's maybe your issue here, is that you're literally having to go, okay, I said there was literally no chance at all, and now I think they're like the scariest team in the NFL. Maybe as you're articulating that live, you should be thinking to yourself, maybe if I dial back the extremes, then, these wouldn't be mutually exclusive, Maybe if I simply said there's a small chance of this happening now, and then now there's another small chance on the other end of the spectrum, we would be okay, as opposed to 0 and 100. But generally, I don't have a problem with, I was wrong here.
Analytics guru Jeff Saturday putting percentages on things.
0%.
Former NFL coach Jeff Saturday. It is hard to believe that just 2 years ago,
God, imagine that was a thing that happened.
Just 2 years ago.
Jeff Saturday was an NFL coach for real. Not a joke.
And then came in and blew a 33-point lead.
At least not a joke that anybody has admitted to openly.
Jim Irsay, rest in peace. But yeah, that was just 2 years ago. The Colts needed to shake things up mid-season.
I wonder if that's what started, what's her name, the new owner? I wonder if that's what put her on the headset. The Jeff Saturday debacle.
Got to know what these guys are saying.
I'm going to have to start putting on the headset to find out what the hell is happening here.
It's been all downhill since we hired the high school coach / former center. Oh, man.
That's one of those things that that's going to just pass into history as a thing that happened, and we won't really talk about it again. Like, that's one of the craziest things that's ever happened in the NFL. Jeff Saturday, just because, like, he'd spent 10 years of his life with Peyton Manning's hands up his ass. Jeff Saturday got handed the Indianapolis Colts head coaching job. And somebody somewhere thought that was a good plan.
Oh, you're an absolute wordsmith. Cannot top that. We got something on the Browns coaching staff. Oh, boy.
I hope that the Browns coaches sealed their fate yesterday. It's 10-8.
Rizzo.
10-8 in the third quarter. 4th and 1. Your own 33. You're going to go for it and have your tight end get the belly fumbles? Folks, I'm going to tell you something right now. I know owners of sports teams that would have fired these people on the spot yesterday. Enough of this. You got to be out of your mind to watch this garbage. The Browns are garbage.
All right. Here's the thing. Number one, what is your problem exactly with that situation? Like 4th and 1, your own 33, you're down against the team, you got nothing to lose. Like, why would you not be going for that? Like, it's sort of standard go for it situation.
Because it didn't work.
Yeah, right.
And because
That's
Harold Fannin.
Now, okay, your criticism there would be you give it to the tight end who fumbles the ball. If you want to criticize the coaches, you're like, have you not drilled this enough that Harold Fannin should be able to take a snap from the center? And maybe they have, and they just sometimes players make mistakes. I find it pretty hard to find an area of that particular dynamic where you're like, this is a Stefanski fault.
I doubt that Tony Rizzo is familiar with the other 31 teams all that much. I mean, our usual answer to that is this is not unique to Cleveland that they're putting their tight end under center. Connor Hayward's
Nor is
doing
it unique to Cleveland that didn't work out well. Like a bunch of teams, even just this week, screwed that up.
But like the Seahawks, well-coached team. A.J. Barner does this all the time for them.
I mean, the Chiefs spent the last half a decade
doing it
trying
with
to
Kelsey,
avoid putting Patrick Mahomes under center.
So a lot of good teams put their tight end under center. And Tyler Warren dropped one the other day as well, also on 4th down.
The general point about Cleveland, right? It's like, oh, same old Browns. This is a disaster. This is all bad. This is basically exactly the way I said the entire season was going to unfold, almost down to the weeks that the quarterbacks were going to change before the season started. It is going to plan. It's just that the plan involves a bad season. Like, this is the thing. You can, but you have to factor in what were their expectations and hopes heading into this year. And they were probably, for this team not to be particularly good, for us to get a look at all the quarterbacks and to head into next year's draft well-positioned to get the real starter, right? Yeah. If that is the plan, it's pretty hard to be calling for people's jobs because the plan has been executed. Like, it's all going according to plan. It's just that you don't like the plan.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel for Browns radio media, right? I mean, just they got to react every Monday morning to what happened on Sunday.
Yeah, I don't feel for them at all. This is like the Browns are one of the top 3 teams in the NFL in terms of content for radio people.
They just have to, they got to be mad about something.
Well,
you got to be mad when you lose. You got to blame somebody when you lose. You can't take this high-level approach like you and I have said. You're like, Browns going to plan here. They've got 3 wins. That's expected. They've been in the graveyard since
but the point about being
March of 22.
Yeah.
22 is what we put them in.
But the point about being a shouty show exponent is that you don't care about, rationality. Like the Browns are the gift that keeps on giving. No matter what they do, it works out badly, so you get to rant about it.
True. So, yeah, we get another Browns take, and we just come back with the usual, they're bad as expected.
I mean, it's a dumb take, but it's a dumb show, so,
Wow. So that's it. I guess we're moving on from the Browns take. We're on to the Broncos.
The reason I have so much confidence in Bo Nix is who else you finna believe in? I'm not going to believe in Aaron Rodgers and his decrepit self. I'm not going to believe in Daniel Jones. The Kansas City Chiefs, when they stopped the run game, stopped the hell out of him, along with the Houston Texans this week. You can't believe in C.J. Stroud. He's constantly hurt. I believe in Patrick Mahomes, but I can't believe in Patrick Mahomes' weapons. Justin Herbert, he just fractured his wrist. Who else can you believe in? If not the Broncos, who else can you believe in? Shout out to Josh Allen, but you saw what happened when the Texans played the Bills and Josh Allen didn't have any weapons to throw to. Who else can you believe in if you can't believe in the Denver Broncos? You have have to have faith in somebody in the AFC. I would rather put my faith in Sean Payton, a Super Bowl winning head coach, put my faith in a top 3 defense in the Denver Broncos, and put my faith in a mobile quarterback when you need mobile quarterbacks to win in this day and age. If you can't believe in the Broncos, you can't believe in anybody in the AFC. It really comes down to that. It really comes down to that, Jay.
His decrepit self.
Acho, a believer.
I think Acho antagonizes me and aggravates me more than any other Shouty Show person because he's capable of so much more. I think what really pisses me off about Acho is he should be really good because he's articulate. He's really good at actually, he's a good orator. He should be one of the better analysts on TV, and he's decided to go the pathway of
Chose the other
he's
way.
decided to use his gifts for evil instead of good.
Yeah.
He has seen what Stephen A. Smith has got, and he's like, Lord Jesus, I want that for me.
Yeah.
I want to be the new Stephen A. Smith. I'm going to go to the dark side. And I hate that. I think because the first time I saw Acho was him doing Dano style breakdowns on his TV with a little iPad, and he's good at that. And again, he's articulate. He can construct an argument. He can deliver a point. And it's like, dude, you could be a really, really good TV analyst, and instead you've just chosen the pathway of idiocy and performance, and it's very frustrating. I mean, as for the point he's making, sure, like take your pick of any AFC team,
Which we're going to do
right
at the end of the show and say who do we believe in, which is a fine point as far as the Knicks thing. Each one of these guys, I think, has a take that really stood out to me through the years. I always reference the Skip Bayless one from way back in 2007 when he said Jay Cutler. He said, I got to say it again. The question, Skip, who do you trust more in the year 2007, Tom Brady or Peyton Manning? Good question.
like
And he
Tebow.
says neither.
Yeah.
Jay Cutler and Vince Young.
Was Jay
because
Cutler
they're more clutch. This was before Skip. By the way, Vince Young he had a lot of those like fourth quarter comebacks early in his career. Cutler was with the Broncos.
Yeah.
At that time, and this was pre-Skip being a Brady guy.
Right.
And this is part of his ascent. Your ascent
Yeah,
is
yeah.
Brady, Manning, pick one. He's like, no, give me QB 20.
Yeah.
Nah, give me Vince.
Who do you think?
Remember the Rose Bowl?
Right. Who do you think the first, like, Shouty Show, not target, but like hobby horse would have been? Because Cutler was definitely one, where there were always a bunch of people who were like, Jay Cutler is like a secret genius. You guys just haven't seen it yet.
Tebow was the biggest.
Tebow, obviously the biggest one, but he wouldn't have been the first. Vince Young was definitely one. Like, who would have been the first one of those guys where the Shouty Show lunatics are like, this guy is for real. Like, you guys, you're just not seeing it.
It had to be in the 05, 06 range.
Just because of the
This
media
whole
landscape.
genre.
Right.
I mean, if we need the oral history of this entire thing, maybe Nick Wright could help us unpack that. Because the early 2000s, when you and I were in college, that's when like the PTIs came out and what's the one with the score around the horn.
Yeah.
And it just and that was like the next level. I don't know if you remember the types of shows like they'd have like the sports reporters or something. So they used to have shows on like a Sunday morning where they'd get Mike Lupica or whatever and they'd be smoking cigars and be like, all right, news reporters, give us your opinions on all the stories in the sports, right? And to me that was one of the first iterations of not just shouty shows but just opinion and arguing TV, right?
Yeah.
And that was like the 90s, late 80s and into the 90s.
There was probably,
But PTI and Around the Horn was this idea of like now the personality matters, right? Wilbon and Kornheiser and all the guests on. Now the personality matters. What's his face from Woody from Denver?
Yeah,
And
Page.
Woody Page, right? So then the personality started to matter. And then you got into, I always talk about, I know I repeat myself a lot, but in the middle of college, I used to watch Cold Pizza, and then it just, all of a sudden, Skip Bayless showed up.
Right.
And I went from like this cool little morning show, Today Show type of deal for sports, and all of a sudden, they're at a table, and this guy's making ridiculous sports points that I don't want to hear. And it just
Right.
like happened overnight in
Yeah.
like 04, 05, whenever that was.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you restrict the genre to the sort of advent of, debate television, then you you get sort of locked into that kind of era. I do like, and before that, it would have just been a dumb reporter having a bad opinion. You know what I mean? It's probably not the same thing.
Yeah, and those guys, I mean, that's what they do, and that was part of their shtick, right? They were just like old school, like I'm upset with this. These guys watch their home runs too much, or these guys do that, whatever it was, whatever they were complaining.
We need a 30 for 30 on like the rise of idiot TV.
Yeah, I'm sure ESPN will title it as such.
Maybe not a 30 for 30 then. Maybe whatever the Vice TV or whatever, needs to be a competitor because ESPN's probably not signing off on that.
I'll say this, and for fear of sounding like I'm in my 40s, and everybody's always like, oh, the good old days,
I embrace it. Now we can be crotchety for real.
Fine.
Like we're in our 40s. Now's the time.
We grew up. What was
things
Sports
were better in our day?
Everything was better. Everything was better. You'd wake up, Sports Center was on at all times, right? The times in my life that I would watch 7 straight Sports Centers and have no problem with it and catch something new every time. And I didn't care. I'm watching hockey highlights. I'm watching horse racing. I didn't care. In the guys delivering the highlights to me, they were personality driven, but they were awesome, right? This combination of efficiency and humor, and you loved it. And then it morphed into the first real big one on SportsCenter for me was the Brett Favre deal. The Brett Favre retirement watch and that started as early as like 06.
Yeah.
And then in 07, and he's back with the Packers. And then in 08, he goes to the Jets. When they started covering the Brett Favre saga, and then a couple years later, it's the Tebow saga, which is like, and now it's like this is the Shedeur, like the Tebowization of media is what's led to the Shedeur stuff taking over the draft, right? It started with Tebow and it started with Favre, but Favre was like the tipping point for me in my old age, where SportsCenter was on in the back, and all it was is like, let's go to these people for their Brett Favre opinion. Now let's go to these people for their Brett Favre opinion. Let's go to Ed Werder, who is just following Brett Favre around all summer, and that's his job.
There are many road marks along the way from, decent TV to today's world of 24/7 Stephen A. Smith. Brett Favre and his retirement saga is definitely one of the road marks along the way. Like that, there's a moment somewhere along there where executives realize that, you know what, rather than cover all 32 teams when, a bunch of these teams nobody cares about, actually there's way more money in just spending the entire time talking about Brett Favre. Like actually way more people are interested in that. So to hell with journalistic integrity, let's just talk about Brett Favre all the time. That was definitely a key road marking along this ridiculous pathway.
And look, I think we have to honor and appreciate that because we get to just spew nonsense. Yeah, we get to spew nonsense. I think what happened is it pivoted from the sports fan wants all of the information to the sports fan wants to be informed, or they want to have their opinion. They want to have an opinion, but they're okay if they have it shaped a little bit. So it turned into give the sports fan fodder for like the bar discussion or the water cooler discussion. And that's why I think the opinion stuff came out so that the people at the water cooler could say, Brett Favre, he's got to make a choice. Get rid of him. So that everybody had an opinion. So it went from this broad highlights to now you get to be in your life, you get to have your own real life PTI and you get to have your own debates with people, but you need people nudging you in the direction of which opinions you should grab onto. And that's why I think that's why it caught on. And I'm saying that because I think we take pride in, informing, having fun, having different discussions that other people might have. But I think it's the same premise where I hope the people listen to us have some other new information that maybe they didn't have previously or a different angle that they can then, hear and, listen in a different way.
All right, let's fire up the next one.
I don't know why we just went off on all that stuff. Next one.
But, the old adage, is 10 years you start to smell and all that, and your message gets lost. I don't think that's the case with Mike Tomlin, all right? I just think right now, do Mike Tomlin a favor and fire him. He would get a job anywhere else in the league in 2 seconds. 2 seconds.
Yeah, all right. I mean, that's probably true.
Rex wants Mike Tomlin for him. It's run its course.
That's
in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean that's an interesting thought on the thing. Like I think that's probably true. He's one of those coaches that would be an instant retread rehiring.
Hearing this a lot around the league, by the way.
What? That he would.
He would.
Like
for a team like when was the last time the Giants had a winning season?
Right. There
7
are
years
teams,
ago?
and this is the case with every one of these guys, where it's like they get stale. The team, he's hit a ceiling there. Team wants to move on. Blah blah blah. Good is not good enough. We need great. Blah. But there are teams for whom good would be, a miracle. So obviously, those guys are huge candidates for teams like that, and that's why they always get. Again, Mike Shanahan, when he was fired by Denver, is always the one that stands out to me. Mike Shanahan very quickly got another job. Of course he was going to get another job. The guy was a multiple-time Super Bowl champion, and his teams were always good, if not great. So I think that part is definitely true. The question becomes, though, is that actually a good thing for Mike Tomlin? Like, part of the draw of a job like Pittsburgh is they're never going to fire the head coach. They've had 3 of them since the 60s or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like, they have this absurd run, but they just never fire anybody. So from a personal Mike Tomlin standpoint, it's probably quite a good gig. The next job, I'm sure he will get one very quickly, but the next job might be the Jets. And the Jets fire fire coaches at the drop of a hat because of their owner. Like, that's the problem with that as an idea. Now, look, you can take the opinion of, yeah, but you get the payoff. So life's good no matter what happens to you. But if you're looking for a job and you want that job to last 15 years, there aren't many better spots than Pittsburgh.
Right. I kind of agree. I think you're getting this vibe from a lot of media, though, that it's kind of run its course in Pittsburgh. But will that resonate in the building for the Steelers? And then, would he do a better job with the Giants or a different team? I think so. I mean, I think he'd be fine there. But I think the same questions probably arise. And does it take him? I don't know. Like, some of the issues right now are staleness. It's like all stale, right? No matter who the quarterback is, it's been a stale offense. No matter who the coordinator is, it's been stale. No matter what type of defensive talent they've added there, it's like they've got the same weaknesses and struggle against good teams outside of like one great game against Lamar Jackson last year. So I think you'd be an upgrade in all these other places, but the same things that are potentially running him out of Pittsburgh would be an issue too. It's almost like the James Franklin thing in college, where Penn State's like, oh man, you can't win the big one, we can't have you here. And then Virginia Tech's like, absolutely, we'll take that guy. That
Right.
stability, like this dude's got these, like they're playing in January every year.
Yeah, well, the unknown is
that. Like, we love the job that you have done.
The unknown is, has this just run stale, run its course in Pittsburgh, run into a unique set of circumstances in Pittsburgh. The fact that he hasn't really had an elite quarterback since Big Ben was good, not even since Big Ben retired. Or has Mike Tomlin's shtick just run out of gas, right? And Mike Tomlin's shtick is now good, not great. Like, sure, he would take a bad team and probably immediately make them very competitive. Kind of the way, Mike Vrabel comes in, immediately turns things around. I would imagine Tomlin could have a pretty serious effect on a bad franchise very quickly. The question, though, would then be, can he take that team from good to great, or does he just have a ceiling now of being good?
I think we'll talk more about this. This week's a huge week. They're playing the Ravens first time, 2 more of those games. I mean, if they lose both Ravens games and this first losing season is on the horizon for Pittsburgh, I think we'll be talking more about the Tomlin thing.
I think that threshold is important, even if it's only for optics. Like, I think if the Steelers finally have, or if Tomlin finally has a losing season, I think that provides people an excuse to say, obviously, a watershed has been crossed here. We need to go in a different direction. If he doesn't, I think it becomes more difficult.
All right, man. That's. Do we want to? We'll do the last one anyway. Fire up the Panthers take.
I'm just saying that the Carolina Panthers could be one of those teams that catches lightning in a bottle.
Yes, but they're not like you feel like the Texans are, right? They're not like dangerous in that spot. They're just, we don't know what they are. Like you've said, the Texans are the one team that no one wants to face. Do we feel that way about Carolina?
Everybody and their mama trusted the LA Rams and called them the best team in football going into week 13.
I did it.
And the Carolina Panthers just whooped their ass. You tell me the team that the Carolina Panthers can't beat.
I mean, it is, don't want to face them season. Don't want to face the Panthers in the playoffs.
I mean, you don't want to face them on the basis that There's no rhyme or reason for what they are. Like, I think it's a reasonable point that they just beat the Rams, who are as good as anybody in the NFL. And as he said, everybody was saying they were the number one team last year. So by that logic, Carolina is capable of beating any team in the NFL. And you don't know when that team is going to show up. Now, if you were expecting, like, we have to play Carolina next week, what level of team is likely to show up? I would say most weeks you would be pretty confident that it's not that team. But you don't know when that team's going to show up, and when that team shows up, you're in trouble. So, like, technically he's right, but they're
not necessarily the team I would say would go on a run, because that involves multiple games in a row.
But like, if you're
in any given, it's just, now you're just describing history though. They've beaten the Packers, they've beaten the Rams, they've beaten the Cowboys, who are now the team that no one wants to be. Like, they've beaten teams that are supposed to be good in the NFC.
But like, there's a difference between are you capable of beating anybody and are you likely to beat anybody? Like, I don't think anybody if you offered any team, let's say the playoffs started tomorrow, right? If you offered any team in the NFC the opportunity to swap their current opponent for the Carolina Panthers, would they take it? I think all of them would.
Yes.
Even though one of them, the Rams would. The Rams would, and they lost the game last week, right?
I'd also, let me add this to it. The Panthers have taken many of the best teams in the league over the last 2 years, right to the wire.
Yeah.
The Chiefs came down to a last-second field goal. They had a dropped touchdown against the Super Bowl champion Eagles. This is last year, those two teams. So they took the two Super Bowl teams right to the end. Should have beaten the Eagles at least, and almost beat the Chiefs. And they just beat the team that was going into December with this best team in the league tag in the Rams. And they beat the Packers when they were, close to the peak of their powers earlier in the year. So there is this element of, like, they've played up extremely well.
I have given up attempting to make any sense of the Carolina Panthers. I don't understand them. They confuse me, and that's now my default position on the Panthers. I cannot take it a position because I've acknowledged that I just do not understand what's happening. Thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video.
Check the Mic is live Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, so be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss a video.
You heard the man. Subscribe.